In order to complete this, you'll need the following tools: a 45 foot-pound torque wrench with a 5/8 inch socket, a 1/2 inch open-end wrench, a 1/2 inch socket wrench, ratcheting 7/8 inch box wrench, and a 7/8 inch open-ended wrench. Before starting on water, you're going to need to take off the shipping bar. Next, you need to be sure that you've connected the power supply. Before starting up the unit, be sure that all of your valves are in the open positions except the sample port, which should remain closed. Be sure that the auto valve is also set to open. At this point, you're ready to begin the test and start the machine. Press the start button to activate the pump. Once the pump has started, be sure that all of the free air is purged out of the system. By watching the flow meter, you should be able to notice when there is no air left purging from the system. At this point, you're ready to generate the minimum pressure by manipulating the bypass valve and the concentrate back pressure valve. The goal is to generate 30 psi for vibration. While watching the flow meter, Kira is going to close the bypass valve until the flow meter reads 3 GPM. Once it is at 3 GPM, Kira is going to close the concentrate valve until the flow meter reads 2 GPM. At this point, the pressure should be between 30 and 60 psi at the outlet pressure gauge. Once you are above 30 psi, start vibration by pushing the green start button one more time. Immediately after starting vibration, be sure to check the vibration amplitude. After starting the vibration, be sure to match the stencil to reach 3/4 inch vibration. Use the variable frequency drive in order to adjust the vibration. By pressing the down arrow, you'll reduce the amplitude of vibration. By pressing the up arrow, you'll increase the amplitude of vibration. The objective is to maintain 3/4 inch amplitude vibration. The vibration will drift upwards as the spring and bearings of the VSEP unit heat up. For this reason, it is important to continually check the vibration amplitude when the system is running. Once you have the system running stably at 3/4 inch vibration, run the system for half an hour at low pressure, approximately 100 psi for NF or RO membranes. Kira is going to use the same process as before to raise the pressure, this time to 100 psi. She begins by closing the bypass to 3 GPM and then closing the concentrate valve to 2 GPM, and that should bring her to around 100 psi on the concentrate output flow meter. Simply make adjustments to these two valves until you have your pressure set point and approximately 2.5 GPM flow rate on the concentrate flow tube. Now run the system at low pressure for 30 minutes and inspect for leaks. Collecting water data at this point is also useful. In order to collect permeate flux data, use a graduated cylinder and a stopwatch. Record how many milliliters of permeate per minute are exiting the system. Also record the pressure, the temperature, the amplitude of vibration. After 30 minutes of low pressure operation, increase the system to high pressure. This will vary depending on the type of membrane you have. In this case, running a nanofiltration membrane, we're going to increase to 300 psi. Again, Kira is closing the bypass until she has 3 GPM on the concentrate flow tube, and closing the concentrate valve until she has 2 GPM. Then she's going back and forth between these two valves in order to get the pressure on the outlet pressure gauge to 300 psi, all while maintaining a flow rate on the concentrate flow meter between 2 and 3 GPM. Continue to run the system at this high pressure setting, checking for leaks for approximately 30 minutes. Taking flow readings at this pressure will also be of use. If running an ultrafiltration membrane, use 150 psi as the high pressure setting. If running a reverse osmosis membrane, set 500 psi as the high pressure range. After 1 hour, 30 minutes at low pressure and 30 minutes at high pressure, stop the machine, close the concentrate auto valve. This is done to keep the water in the filter pack so that the system is fully hydraulic. It's now time to check the torque on the perimeter bolts again. You must first disconnect the power to the unit and install the shipping bar. Double check the torque using the 5-count star pattern at the 45 foot-pound setting. Remember to check every single bolt by counting every 5th bolt as you progress. Do this with the shipping bar in place. After torquing the bolts, you should double check the tightness of the center nut as well. You may have to check every bolt more than once. Keep going around from one bolt to the 5th bolt until the bolts no longer move at the 45 foot-pound setting. At this point, you're ready to move to the standard Series P filtration of your process material. In order to move on to the next step, drain the feed tank of water. Simply connect your feed hose to a drain source appropriate for your facility and drain the water by opening the valve under the tank. At that point, you're ready to connect to your standard feed source and begin P testing.